Big round of applause for Margot Leitman. Margot Leitman. More than that, Margot Leitman.
So I have a long-standing aversion to grown men with really white blonde hair, you know, like a baby. You know, it's not that hot, sandy blonde, Matthew McConaughey hair. It's that white blonde, you know what I mean? Like Johnny from Karate Kid, villain from Die Hard hair. And you could say, okay, it's because they're always the bad guys in movie and television, aside from the obvious Bret Michaels Rock of Love, good guy. But it kind of goes a little deeper than that for me. It's something that happened to me like about 11 years ago when I was living in New York in my early 20s, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. I wanted to do something vaguely in the arts. And so I had a bunch of survival jobs, and I was on this subbing list to work at this school for overprivileged children on the Upper East Side. And they called me one day and said there was an opening for this assistant after-school teacher 5 days a week in the afternoons. Did I want it? And considering that I had no interest in ever being a teacher and a general disdain for children in general, I said, sure, fine. I go in with this attitude like, I'm going to rock this. I'm going to be the cool teacher. They're going to call me Margot, not Miss Leitman. I'm going to wear mini skirts with leg warmers. I'm going to have like great after-school activities. We're going to do fashion shows and freeze dance. And we're going to have cool snacks, you know, like chocolate milk and Oreos and goldfish. Cut to 6 months later. I've invested in a really sensible pair of khakis. I insist on being called Miss Leitman because it shows respect. Damn it. I basically throw out a bucket of crusty old Legos every day for the kids to amuse themselves with, and I have relegated snack to a choice of two of the following: raisins, saltines, or graham crackers, with a side of room temperature tap water. I don't know what I want to do with my life, but it is certainly not this. I'm in an unhappy relationship. I have no idea what I'm doing. I have no idea what my purpose is. I'm 25 and I'm in a quarter-life crisis. And I am channeling all of my rage into one little boy. Chaucer Marlowe. Yes, Chaucer Marlowe. Not only was his name equally pretentious as Dick Butkus is hilarious, no. Chaucer had white blonde hair and that little boy haircut, you know, with the bangs. And he wore a different Ralph Lauren polo shirt to school every day. But the worst thing, the thing I really hated about Chaucer, was that he spoke like he had read a manual from the 1950s of how to be a cute kid and had this phony voice and these phony colloquialisms. And he would say things like, "Jeepers creepers, Miss Leitman, you're running low on raisins." And I wanted to strangle him. I hated my life, and even more, I hated Chaucer Marlowe. I hated him. Towards the end of the year, my boss told me that they would like me to be promoted next year, and I would be getting a full-time job in the day and 5 days a week. I would be the head after-school teacher and coordinator. I'd have benefits. I'd have a huge pay increase, and I would be a fool not to take it. My plan was, I have no idea what I want to do. This seems okay. I guess I'll just be one of those people that starts a job in their early 20s and stays in that field. I didn't know what I wanted. But I went into work that afternoon after I'd made the decision that I was going to take it. And Chaucer was being himself. He was saying things like, "Ah, shucks, Miss Leitman, and son of a gun." And I couldn't stand it. And then he went and he got his snack. And he got his snack, and he goes, "I'm just taking my snack, Miss Leitman. You know me. 1 pack of saltines and 1 raisins, no more." And I was like, why does he have to announce to me every day what he is taking from the snack? Maybe he has something to hide. And so I went, "Chaucer, is there a reason you're telling me this every day?" And he goes, "Nope." And I said, "Could you open your backpack for me?" And he was like, "Oh, why? Why would I want to?" And I go, "Open your backpack." And Chaucer opened his backpack to reveal a stack 12 inches high of stolen raisins, saltines, and graham crackers. And I lost it. And I just went, "That's it, Chaucer, you're going to jail." Because that's what happens to little boys who steal, Chaucer. That's right, I'm going to call the police. And I picked up the school phone, and I pretended to call the police. And I went, "Hello, police, I have a little blonde boy here who's stealing saltines." cops are on their way, Chaucer. Watch out. This is what happens. You'll spend a life in prison. Like, I just couldn't stop myself. And then the phone in my hand actually rang, and it was the front desk that was like, Margot, Chaucer's mom is here for pickup. And I was like, okay, sure, he'll be right out. Like, nothing's going on. And so he took his backpack filled with those moldy saltines, and he went to the front desk, and he left. And to be honest with you, I was so detached from my job that I left for work that day. I thought nothing of it. Like, I went home, I had a cappuccino, I thought nothing. And I go to work the next day, like, everything's fine. And my boss calls me into the office. She was like, oh, Margot, hey, can you come here for a second? And I go, yeah. And she goes, have a seat. This is crazy, and I'm sure I don't need to ask you this. It's just a technicality. But we got a call from Chaucer's mom. You didn't tell him he was going to jail for stealing saltines and raisins yesterday. You didn't tell him he'd spent a life in prison and call the police on him, right? I mean, he's making up stories, right? And I went, yeah, I did. And she goes, well, why would you do that? I go, because he was stealing, because he was being bad. She's like, he's not being bad, Margot. He's acting out. Maybe he's having problems at home. Maybe his parents are getting divorced. Did you go to the root of the problem? As educators, we have to go to the root of the problem. And I'm thinking, I don't care about the root of the problem. I don't care. I don't care about Chaucer. I don't like Chaucer. I don't want him stealing my crackers. I don't want to be here. And then she's going on and on. She was like, well, we have to figure out the deeper issue. And maybe you need more structure to your program. Maybe you should make an activity wheel. You know, maybe you could have 2 kids at the Lego station, 2 kids at the drawing station. And she starts doing this hand gesture. And all of a sudden, I was like, oh my God, I don't want to be a teacher. I don't want to be a teacher. I don't want to be a teacher. And suddenly, it hits me like a ton of bricks. And I'm sitting there, and she rattles on, and I let her finish. Because the thing about being a teacher is you kind of need to care. And so I go, oh my gosh, thank you so much. I've decided not to take that job for next year. So I'm just going to finish out this year, and this is going to be the end. She was like, because of Chaucer? And I was like, no, but yes, because of Chaucer. And I did. I finished out the year, and I left, and I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. But I started to write, and it took me like 10 years. But eventually, it became what I did for a living, and it's sort of because of Chaucer. And I was reminded of all this past year, where I had to take a little time off from writing to have a baby, a little boy with the whitest blonde hair you could ever imagine. Thank you.